What is up, cats and kittens? This is Luke coming back at you with some updates for Trostani Selesneya's voice. It's been a while, and I've made some changes to the deck that I think help me accomplish the life gain strategy a little bit better for Trostani and get rid of some of the creatures that weren't working quite as well. So let's have a quick look. What has been gotten rid of to make room for these beautiful creatures and spells that are now part of the list? I'll just run down really quickly for the most part. So Monastery Mentor is out. Piper is out. Sadbot, that's Solemn Simulacrum, out. Thragtusk, Soul of the Harvest, Pristine Angel, Emeria Shepherd, Regal Force, Hornet Queen, Karametra, and Verdant Force all out. They're fine creatures. Pristine Angel just sort of sat there and was a blocker. Emeria Shepherd got things out of the graveyard, but I figured out a better way of getting everything out of the graveyard, so I'm trying that instead for now. Let's see here. Regal Force, I didn't have enough green creatures to make it really worthwhile, so I kicked them. Hornet Queen is just there for defensive purposes, and I've got other ways of dealing with that, and I brought in a couple of win cons that are better as well. Karametra, I found a better way of getting ramp, and Verdant Force, again, I found a better token producer that actually helps win the game. All right, so let us start with Serra Ascendant. Serra Ascendant is part of the Soul Sisters deck in Modern. 1/1 lifelink, and if you have 30 or more life, it gets +5/+5 and flying. You start that way. So this is just a straight up broken card. I had friends that got pissed off when I started using it, but our meta got spiky, so fuck it, it's in. Because it's a monster. I mean, it gains life, it beats down, there's nothing not to love about this. Boundless Realms goes in for Karametra. The ramp is real with this one. So it lets you search your library for basic land cards equal to the number of lands that you've got. So if you have 10 lands when you cast this, then you're getting 10 basics, straight up. It just lets you completely ravage your deck and thin it out for all of your basics. And it costs 6 and a green. Authority of the Consuls is kind of a nice little control-y card, and it gains you incremental life. It's a Soul Sister that's more difficult to kill, rather. Enchantment from Kaladesh costs 1 white, and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped, and whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain a life. So that has actually helped me quite a bit. Gossamer Chains is another defensive enchantment. Double white enchantment, return it to your hand, and target unblocked creature deals no combat damage this turn. So some of those gigantic, like I've got a friend who plays, it's the snake one, makes the snake unblockable and then can pump the snake up, and this blanks that. So this is just a better way of dealing with those one-shot Voltron decks. And you can just play it the next turn. Another thing you can do is, I have had this for a long time, and I've decided to try and bring it in. It's a Keldoran Royal Guard, or KJE. So it's either Keldoran or Geldoran or Keldor. Who cares? So it's 2/5 for 3 and 2 whites, and you can tap her and redirect all damage from unblocked creatures to the Royal Guard. It's like a veteran bodyguard that you tap to activate, which is pretty amazing. It's great. Again, nobody can really try an alpha strike on you with this on the field. Now, here we go. Eidolon of Blossoms. I noticed that I had at least 15 enchantments in there, and I wanted to generate some value off of those enchantments. So, speaking of which, I have 2 enchantments that I've already shown you guys, plus Eidolon of Blossoms counts as an enchantment as well. So 2 and 2 green, 2/2 enchantment creature spirit with Constellation. So whenever it comes onto the field or another enchantment ETBs under your control, you draw a card. So it's a better draw engine. This is one of the win cons, one of the absolute monsters of this deck. I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner. Phyrexian Processor costs 4 to bring out and 4 and tap it. But when you bring it out, you pay any amount of life. I usually pay 20 life or 40 life, depending on how much life I'm at. So you pay that amount of life, and then you can pay for and tap this thing, and you bring out a minion token that is a black creature with power and toughness equal to the number of life that you paid. So if you pay 30 life, for example, and then you tap it, you get a 30/30 token on the battlefield. And if you have Trostani out, you gain that 30 life back immediately. So pumping out 30/30s every single turn that gain you 30 life is damn difficult to deal with. This is a hot card. If you play Trostani, consider bringing this in. This makes opponents scoop. Straight up. Awesome, awesome card. Next is Sigarda, Host of Herons. For those of you who used to play Birthing Pod, this is one and the same. 2 a green and 2 white for a 5/5 flying hexproof angel. She's legendary, but that doesn't matter because this is EDH. Spells and abilities can't cause you to sacrifice permanents. That's spells and abilities your opponents control. I've got friends that they've started not copying, but they started going along with my Athreos list with what is it? Cairn of Clan Meltoth or whatever, and Shieldred as well. Those kinds of decks where you play Butcher of Malakir or Grave Pact or those kinds of things that make your opponents sacrifice creatures. When Sigarda is around, you ain't sacking nothing. I've got a buddy that makes you sacrifice a bunch of stuff. He's got Zombie Tribal, and I fetch this chick out immediately, and short of a living death, you ain't sacking shit. Praetor's Council is what I'm using instead of the Emeria Shepherd. Basically, it's 5 and 3 green for a sorcery. Return all cards from your graveyard to your hand, exile this card, and you've got no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. So everything in your graveyard, you just bring right back to your hand, and you can keep it as long as you want. Aura Shards is one. I'm not sure if I had this in before, but I'm going to show it to you now. This pisses people off. This is one of the worst hate cards, but too bad. 1 a green and a white. Whenever a creature comes into play under your control, you can destroy an artifact or enchantment. So all of the enchantments that your opponents are using to mess with you, just gone. It gives you incredible leverage, but it also pisses people off. So use it sparingly, and when you have to use it, focus on that player and just hit him really hard, because this is not an enchantment that's really going to stick around for very long. Miri's Guile. One of the things I was noticing is that I wasn't getting enough card draw or deck manipulation, and I think that's really important when you're dealing with 99 cards that are almost all singletons. So I traded for Miri's Guile. It's a one drop enchantment, green, and during your upkeep you get to look at the top 3 cards of your library and put them back in any order. So Scry 3. Really, really good deck manipulation that way, so you get better top decks. Ground Seal, whenever it enters the battlefield, draw a card, and cards in graveyards can't be the targets of spells or abilities. So any of those graveyard interacting decks or graveyard shenanigans decks, sorry, not happening. Now, you could use Rest in Peace, but I'm using my Rest in Peace for Modern, so I don't want to shift stuff in and out of this list. This is slightly less good than Rest in Peace, but it also gives you the opportunity to get back some of your stuff if you're smart about it. Next Win Condition out of Kaladesh. This is a dumb card in EDH, and I love it. For artifact, this is called Aetherflux Reservoir, or as I like to call it, Aetherflux. So whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell that you cast this turn, and then if you pay 50 life, Aetherflux deals 50 damage to target creature or player. So you can just sit there like a big old shotgun, and when somebody pisses you off or you're ready to start making people die, you just kaboom and start hitting people for 50. It's beautiful. And with this deck, it's just dumb. All of the dumb. And with Phyrexian Processor, you're gaining 30 life a pop. So you just start kabooming people right away. It's wonderful. Beacon of Immortality, 5 and a white for an instant, double target player's life total, shuffle Beacon of Immortality back into the owner's library. Yeah, that's kind of good, and it's a foil. And then the most recent one, I pulled this in an Aether Revolt Pack, it's Lifecrafter's Bestiary. 3-drop artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1, and whenever you cast a creature spell, you can pay a green, and if you do, draw a card. Again, better deck manipulation. So those are some of the updates for Trostani, and I will let you know how they are doing. A lot of the things that got cut for them weren't all that great anyway, so this is a lot more fun. It slows the deck down a little bit, and it's not great one-on-one, but I don't think Trostani's fantastic one-on-one anyway. She's a better multiplayer commander, and so it gives her a lot less threats with gigantic beat sticks like Regal Force or Hornet Queen or Karametra Verdant Force, Tharagtusk. So those are the updates for this wonderful deck. And if you have any questions, comments, any other thoughts, please feel free and like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers, guys.